Welcome to Consciousness Chronicles with Millie, my beautiful friend, and myself, Linda. We're sharing our wit and wisdom today, and the intention of this podcast is to just bridge the gap between the spiritual novice and the conscious veteran, because in the end, we're all human, and it's just designed to be a fun deep dive, see what comes up from the magic jar, where, like we said, we
Uh,
need some help from y'all with some
mm.
subjects, but shall we see what we get today?
Yes,
Hi,
please.
dear. Pick it, reach over, pick it. And we get, channeling.
Mm.
You don't know anything about that.
Neither do you.
Well, I would say the majority of the population channels and doesn't even know they channel.
Exactly. Exactly. I think they feel that it has to be something like Bashar or something like Lee Harris or, any of the other people that are out there, Elizabeth, April. When we think of channeling, we think of like just this unconscious thing that comes through you and channeling comes if you have the ability to sit in meditation, you get a channel message. I see it when I'm writing. I channel information all the time when I write. It's not me. It's not coming from me. I know when it's coming from me because it doesn't make any sense. Then I ask my muses, please help me. And I really think that that's my form of channeling, aside from other ways of channeling. You
Didn't,
want to go into the other channel?
yeah, well, I want to go into all of it. Didn't you told me a story once that when you're writing, there's like this dark-haired woman that you feel her presence come through you as you're writing. Share that.
Yeah, for years I did that. I still feel her. I don't know who she is, but I was told back in 2013, I had a I had a visitation. I got let me just back up. I channeled when I was in my 20s and I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was possessed. I would channel this African man named Don Francisco, and he had broken Spanish. He didn't know any English. And I would go to sleep and I would channel for people. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that first, I didn't know what was happening to me. And second of all, he kept saying that this was something that I signed up for. I didn't see the contract, so I don't believe it.
Uh-huh. Show me the fine print here.
I don't believe it. So I actually did that for a few years with Hispanic people in South Florida. And then and my mother, who was totally against anything as a child, was bringing all her elderly Latinas into my house and just do it now. Here's a bottle of vodka because he liked his vodka. And I could drink and come out of it and actually not feel like I actually drank. And I didn't like that feeling. If there's something wrong about it, I kept feeling there was something wrong about it. Fast forward till I was 44. And I had gone that day. I was living up in Asheville, North Carolina, and I had gone that day to get a mammogram. And out of the mammogram, I was starving and I stopped at a Taco Bell. I don't eat Taco Bell, but I stopped at a Taco Bell because it was the only thing around. And many hours later, I got food poisoning. And I was so sick. I was so sick all night long. And I had in my room these beams of light that came in, and I was delirious. I mean, not only was I not willing to see them, but I could hear them as I was throwing up. Hear them telling me in my head what was going to happen. And from there, I resisted and resisted as I normally do until I couldn't resist anymore. And what happened was I started receiving channeling messages, actually, like what you see Bashar, but they would have this, my voice would change, my everything about me would change, but I would go to sleep. And I did not like that because I feel like you're using my body and I'm not this vessel and I'm not aware.
Like Nostradamus, the sleeping prophet.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that he was asleep. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't asleep when they were talking through me, but it was not a good feeling. So I fast forward to 2020. I go to Maui with the kids, and I stay with my friend uh, during the pandemic for a month. And one of my real closest friends, who's actually my Reiki master, I got my mastership under her. We were sitting around the pool, and she goes, "Why is it that you resist this? Why don't you channel?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm on strike. If I can't hear or see or feel at least what they're trying to say through me, no." She's like, "Millie, you could change this contract." And I went, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, you could actually right now, we could break that contract and you can say, if I came in, obviously with this ability, I'm going to change it. I want to be conscious of what they're saying. I want to sit in the back seat and actually be the spectator, not just asleep." There's a name for that. I don't know. It's something. There's one that like it's subconscious. You don't really know what's going, you're like not there. And the other one is
That's
when you're
right.
actually right. And that's when it all shifted for me. I was able to actually allow these divine higher conscious energies move through me, and I could actually listen, sit in the back seat per se, and actually listen. And I was okay. I don't like doing it, but that's me because of my own hang up. But when they do bring in messages, they do it usually like just me having like close my eyes and typing on a computer. But back to that woman, I saw that woman and I still see her and feel her. If I am in the zone and I am in it and I ask for her to come through, she just, she actually just takes over and writes, you know. Thank you for reminding me because the other day I spent a whole Sunday writing my novel, and I kept feeling like it wasn't me. And my senses have kind of like changed recently, and I couldn't feel what it, and it's because I hadn't even asked. And I was like, I wrote 73 pages of my novel on Sunday. I spent a large part of the day and it was flowing. And I was like, I'm not even here. It was her. Thank you. Like,
That's amazing. I love
yeah,
it.
it's just flowing. And so I think people make this channeling. My case is very different. You get messages all the time when you're walking. What, you don't think that you're channeling? I mean, people get them at a light or when they're taking a shower. You're channeling some information. We don't have to make this so, woo woo or difficult to understand. It's just your ability to switch the mind, the monkey mind out of the way and just say, okay, send me the message. Is your angels, is your divinity, is God, whatever you want to call it. It's just, and you do have spirit guides or with you, on this journey. How about you?
How about me?
Tell us how you
Well,
channel.
my I love the forest. I love nature. I want to be out in it all the time. And I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm going to learn to channel and I'm going to do this. And I'm like, I never really had the desire to do it. It was just like, whatever. It didn't really interest me. And then I was out in the forest one day and I started receiving these strong messages that I knew were not me. I knew they were a higher spirit of some sort. And so I started talking them into my phone and the notes. And then I'd get home and read them and go, yeah, that's definitely not me.
Hmm.
And then eventually I got to the point where it's like certain like galactic uh councils or whatever would come.
Yeah, that's gonna be another another
Yeah, or,
conversation.
even just the spirit of the trees would come through
Yeah,
and things like that, and it was like, wow, it became very fascinating to me then, and I really enjoyed it. And I have these soul scripts that I write, which I tap into a person's field and get a message that their soul wants them to hear. And that is
mhm.
another form of channeling. And so I would bring those through out in the forest. And one day I couldn't get to the forest. And I like had five people that wanted them, that ordered them. And I'm like, I can't get to the forest. What am I going to do? Da, da. And I just took a walk in my neighborhood and bam, 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 they all came through like that. And then I was told, see, you don't need to be there. You can do it anywhere. So just, I think it's just being open to receiving, being discerning to know what is bringing you the message, because of course you want it to be of a higher power,
Absolutely.
something, that's benevolent.
But I
And
don't but just like you, I don't allow anything of low vibration at
no,
this point in
no,
my
no,
life.
no. But if somebody out there is going, "Ooh, I want to try this," you really have to use discernment when you're starting out, because, there's
You're opening up.
there's trickster energies out there, and there's a lot of gunk going on in the field right now on this
Mhm.
planet too. So you gotta tread lightly. But yeah, at the end of that, I was told, "See, you can do it anywhere." So that was cool. That was really cool. Now, I haven't felt that in a while, but I really haven't tapped into it. Although when I'm doing my oracle cards, I feel like whatever's coming out of my mouth is so spontaneous and so of the moment that clearly that's my higher self or spirit speaking through me.
I I feel that the word channeling is just like when we had the show on timelines, it actually is a little triggering for me. And it's because of my own shit that I've had gone through this year. But I also know, like, I had thousands of entries during a period of a year where I was channeling, and I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, open up my computer, and I would allow them to write.
Hmm.
Most of that, the majority of that, got lost in a computer that I crashed. Obviously, I mean, thank God I sent some to my son, and he sent me back about 2 or 3 years ago. He sent me the emails that I had emailed him. So I started a book called The Dharma Dialogues, and it's there. I've not done anything because I haven't felt safe enough. And I know I could put all that together because since then I've had a lot more information come through. But then I think, Linda, what can I possibly say that hasn't already been said? You know what I mean? Like, this is where I have, all these people coming up constantly with all this information. They're all saying the same thing. There's nothing that I can say that's so interesting that somebody is going to want to, you know, it doesn't, I'm not there anymore. I rather just sit and write novels and write stories and not have to write, self-help books or memoirs that are going to be, I just, so that in itself, that form of allowing, it's also a form of channeling because what's coming through is clear, and it's obviously not coming so much from me, but a part of me that's allowing this, muse to come in and go, you know, I got you, because it's going like that.
Hmm.
And people get it. Like, I think that people um who are, that are in sports, and they switch something on them that they can actually do what they do and is creative, or an artist or a musician. I mean, musicians do it all the time. They channel the music through them. And the answer, I just think that the word channeling is, I mean, I don't even know is there another word for channeling?
Um, I don't know.
Because when you hear channeling, immediately it triggers something in the Christian community,
Oh, absolutely.
in a lot of different fields.
Oh,
People
yeah.
immediately go, oh my God, she's evil. Oh my God, she's a witch. Oh my God. And I think if we were to find another word to just gently say, hey, you're doing it too. It's just, we don't have to call it channeling.
Well, what were prophets in the Bible? They were prophesizing. They were pulling
Yeah.
information from spirit, Holy Spirit, whatever, to get information.
Yeah. I'm not prophesying.
No, but what I'm saying is, yeah, I know my husband saw some channeling I wrote and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I can't follow you on your Linda Christine page anymore. It's just too much." And I'm like, "Oh my God, if I would
You're
have
still the same person.
yeah, okay, I could be talking to you and channeling this whole conversation, but whatever." Yeah, well, it
Right.
triggered him, and I get that. I get that. And it's sometimes it's even you got to tiptoe around the subject, and I get it.
It's, it's so funny. I always sent, my partner, um, he now knows when it's coming from me, a text or an email or a messenger. He knows when it's from Millie and he knows when it's not from Millie. He'll say, your guys, thank you. The wording is different. The sub, I mean, it's just like, it's it's a lot more. It's not sarcastic. It's not funny. It's even the way that the words are placed, the placement of the words is not coming from me. So
No
he knows, like,
emojis.
huh?
There's no
No
emoji.
emojis, no emojis, no nothing. Just like this, Brian, this, and then boo 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 boo. And it's like he'll say, thank 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 your spirit guides for me. Because he'll ask me for something. I'm like, I have no idea. Let me go meditate on that. And then, a little while later he'll get a message and he goes, oh, that's really good. But I think, and my friends, I mean, it's just, when it's coming from me and when it's not. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah,
But I just think we have to, like, make it more normal and not this occult thing that, because of things in the past in our history, have made it feel so evil, or just wrong. I don't. I think everybody channels. I've had people say, "I got this, like, ding." I love when people say that. Oh, I got this thing, this thought while I was driving, and I go, "Yeah, you were channeling." No, 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 I wasn't channeling. It wasn't like that. And I'm like, well, was it a really good information? Yeah, you were channeling. You're channeling something higher than yourself. It's the stigma of the word channeling.
yeah.
And
Well, go ahead.
I took a class. I took a class with a group of people online a few years ago, back in 2021. And I channeled in front of them. And the teacher, who became a very good friend of mine, said, well, you didn't tell me you already did it. It was like these people are like, never had anything. And there you are, like, just saying it all. And I'm like, I know, I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I watched, who Lee Harris is, right?
Yeah.
I watched a show years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I've been following him for over 10, 20 years. But I remember he channels a collective called the Z's. And he was talking about how difficult it was for him to finally do it in front of people. And I mean, he gets beautiful information about humanity and what's happening in our time, and especially about energy and what to expect. He puts one out every month at the beginning of the month, the energy updates. And I'm like, I admire that, because I can't do it in a group of people. I've tried, I've done it, but to me feels, ooh, it feels super uncomfortable.
Hmm. I think every person, every religion, everybody gets some sort of higher guidance, and where are you connected? Are you connected to, Christ consciousness, benevolent beings, or the opposite, but all those people can connect and get information. So yeah, the stigma though is really hard.
You would think after all these years and all that's out there that we would normalize so much of spirituality and religion at this point. You would think that we could normalize conversations like this and people not freak out,
Yeah.
or conversations, about energy or chakras or Reiki, and somebody go, "Oh my God, she's a witch." I don't, you would think at this point in our lives, where we are as a collective, that, wow, I don't get it. I mean, I think people are opening up more and more, but we're so far from where we should be. Like, seriously, we were all made in the eyes of God. We are ourselves embodying spirit, and we have to categorize and judge. And yeah, I don't know if you saw that, the writing that I did last night about I'm not spiritual anymore.
Yes, I love that.
And
Love
it
that.
was because somebody made a comment in front of me recently about not being Christian, or not being this, or not being that. And I'm not going to give anybody an explanation of anything of who I am. And that moment, I said, no, you know what? I'm not even spiritual anymore. And that person said, what do you mean? I mean, you're super. And I go, I'm not. I'm just being. I'm not being labeled as this or that. I'm being who I came in here to be. Linda, you are here to be who you're here to be. And you are a spiritual being having a human experience, but I'm just being. I'm allowing whatever comes through without labeling it. I am not a spiritualist. I am not this. I'm not that. I'm just a human being with all the greatest imperfections trying to make it through this journey. And at this point, as easy and as effortlessly as possible, if that's even a thing. I just want to go right under the radar. I don't want to have to like rock the boat. I don't want to do anything that is like, just right under the radar. Let's not cause any problems. Let's just go right underneath, and let me look at another beautiful day, and let me just connect with people. And I I don't need to do anything outside of the norm. I have no ambition for it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even, I mean, I love doing these podcasts with you because I'm chit-chatting with my dear friend about what we normally talk about, but we have the video going at the same time.
So we're just
And who
inviting everybody in.
Exactly. And whoever gets it and get a laugh or go, God, these girls are nuts or whatever, and it just doesn't matter,
Uh,
because this is what you and I talk about, or what I talk about with some of my other friends. And it's just the camera's rolling and you're seeing two people go, what do you mean? Or what? And this is without a glass of wine. So, you know what I mean? It's
Dang
just
it, we
like,
need that wine next time. You know,
yes.
I can't believe somebody would say that to you. It just floors me because,
But why would that surprise you? Tell me.
no, it doesn't, but it's like, geez, come on. You can watch your favorite musician, and I guarantee at some point in some interview, that musician has said, I don't know where the song came from. It just came through me, and I wrote it and
Right.
composed it in like 20 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. We're not gonna vilify that and call
Mm-hmm.
that of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
But if some beautiful writing or message comes through us, we're like,
Mm-hmm.
what is that
And that's
about?
okay. But I think people are coming from their level of perception. If they've never experienced something like that, I don't blame them for not understanding. I think where we fall short in our humanness is that we're quick to judge what we don't understand. Because somebody could say something to me and I might not understand. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then if I'm interested, I'll go look at it after a research and go, or I think, well, maybe he's got a little bit of something going on there that I'm not going to maybe understand, but I'm not going to judge them for their experience is very holy to them. And that doesn't mean that they're going through something evil because I don't understand it or whatever. They're having their own human experience. And why do we pick our friends? We pick our friends to match the level of awareness that we have. And if you notice, the ones that are not in our awareness, we keep as acquaintances or we'll keep as, somebody like, hey, passing. The people that we trust the most are always going to be in our own frequency. And if they're not, then they're not really close friends. And that goes with every relationship. The hardest relationships when you are not in accordance with your belief systems are the ones that are husbands, wives, or family members, or your children, or your parents. That's when it gets really tricky. Because what I do is that I don't discuss my spirituality with my family. Only the ones that are interested in knowing. You know what I mean? I don't shove it down anybody's throat. I don't, but I think that we can't condemn because then we'll be judging for them judging us.
Right.
And I don't want to judge somebody for them judging me because they're not understanding where I'm coming from. So I'm okay with it. I just basically have, and it's not that I'm in some kind of like, picketing out of spirituality and going, yeah, I'm striking out of this. I'm not. I'm just saying instead of labeling I'm this, I'm this, I'm that, I refuse to have any kind of label at this point. You know what? If people can say that they're not female or male and there's or chick different, I am going to, what is it? I am going to, what's that word that they use? Uh that I'm not a male, but I'm going to
Well,
act like a, what is, there's a word for
non-binary.
it. Huh?
I'm not following non-binary. No.
No, no, like there's a word that they say I am now a, I'm now seeing myself as so and so, right? There's a word that they use. I can't remember. I'm having a brain fog over here. I'm hot. And I'm just like, what you know what? I am not,
What are your
I'm
pronouns?
not,
I don't know where you're
yeah, I'm
going
my
with this.
pronoun. It's like no, it's like a pronoun, but it's not a pronoun. Like I'm seeing myself as non-spiritual or non-this. I'm not going to label myself. If people are not labeling themselves out there for other reasons, I'm definitely not going to label myself for any reason. I'm that's it. Because what I'm seeing is now that was a perfect example of what it is to have to stand in my power and have to explain to somebody my beliefs. No, I'm not going to do that. What for? I mean, they're not going to see it as I am. I have had 3 marriages, and all 3 of them had been completely different in belief system than I was. And that was the most challenging because I accepted that their belief system was one way as long as they didn't intrude in my belief system. And that's where the problem began. Because what started out as, oh, that's interesting, as the relationship kept going, and we got married, it then became a huge issue in our relationship. So,
Mhm.
not, I mean, like you were just saying, your husband will look at you, Linda Christine, because I mean, he's married to the woman that's in
Yeah,
Linda Christine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, you don't want to read something, but you're married to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a switch there. Like, he knows who you are, but he
yeah.
can't accept that part of you. Yeah. It's okay. It's everybody's on their own different walk.
He'll get there. I
Of
mean,
course he
so much,
will.
so much has shifted in the past 10 years, it's gonna evolve. But yeah,
And I really do feel that that's what happens when they're able to see that nothing changes in you because you have acquired a new gift or actually opened up to a new gift. They actually can feel comfortable that it's not that you've gone off the deep end, but that you're actually now embodying something that's very different from what they knew you to be. And they can be okay with it because you haven't changed anything else. And I think that that goes with, trusting in your relationships.
yes, absolutely. Hmm. What a beautiful subject.
Really?
Yeah. You were on a roll. You were channeling something there.
No. I think
Good
it's
stuff.
just, thank you. That was an interesting subject.
All right, my dear. This
I
is
love you.
another wonderful conversation. Love you. Love everybody out there. Like, share, subscribe, please. Thank you. Bye, everyone.